Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals, and this is a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimates Shredder from Super7. Now, this figure kind of creates a interesting dilemma for me. You see, the thing is that growing up, I wasn't a fan of the original Shredder toy.
What? How could you say that, Gary? After all the fun times we had when you were a kid.
Yeah, it's true, bud. We did have a lot of fun way back when, but the truth is, you know, I never liked how you stood. You know, I never liked your scrawny old man body. I always liked how Shredder looked more in the cartoon. I thought, you know, I was a little disappointed when you got the toy and he looked completely different. I know some people like it, and, you know, to each their own. That's just how it is. It's just my opinion. So I'm hoping that with this Shredder figure, I'm hoping that Super7 took this original design and, you know, in their upgrading and whatnot, they finally give me a Shredder that's in the Playmates design that, you know, satisfies what I was looking for way back when I was a kid. I mean, I couldn't stand this the stance that Shredder has here. And I know as soon as I move this box, these guys are going to fall over. So Shredder originally comes in this cardboard mailer. It's just cardboard in color. There's no, you know, originally they used to be white. But you open it up on the side, and inside you got your figure. And this guy, they come bagged when you first get them. Very nice. Extra protection from the elements. Taped on the bottom, so you gotta pull that sucker right off there, and then you pull it out, and there you go. You got this really nice purple slipcover on top, and this is like, I really love this deep purple color. I think it looks really good. So, let me adjust this. There we go. On the back it says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Contents, 1 figure with accessories from Super7. Man, these guys are doing such a good job here. Thanks, Super7. On the top it says Ultimates. On the front here it has a picture of a sewer lid. And it shows each one of these characters has a little symbol on the side of their head. You know, the turtles have their weapons, and Shredder here has his 2 little, you know, claws from his claws. You know, so you take the slipcover off, and inside you got Shredhead here, and I think some things about this look pretty cool. You know, I think that the muscles, he definitely looks a lot stronger than he used to. He doesn't look as scrawny, but it's hard to tell because he's wrapped up in his cape. So I'm going to have to pop him open and take a look at him. One of the funniest things here is this head here, because they match that, like, how the original Shredder has his eyebrows painted on the top of his helmet. That's just a hilarious thing that they would keep in there after all this time. Like, the spikes and stuff like that look really cool. They look gigantic. So, Shredder here comes in this cool blue brick packaging. The good guys have green and the bad guys have blue. On the back here you have a nice graffiti shot of the foot symbol. And here it says, Shredder, the bad guy leader. Shredder is the hideous, gruesome, and all-around bad guy leader of the Foot Clan, the organized band of evil ninjas. This lowlife came to power when he betrayed his ninja master, Hamato Yoshi, now Splinter. Shredder wants nothing more than control of the world, and to get there, he'll stop at nothing, even if it means grating his victims like cheese with his razor-sharp armor. The obstacles in his path are none other than the turtles, and he means to destroy them. Very, very cool. Each one of these little blurbs on the back of these figures is just really nice. It's nice to have a cool biography, and there's a lot of, you know, Turtles' classic personality all written within. So, I'm going to open this guy up, move him around, see how everything's looking, and get back to you in a minute. So here's Shredder, fresh out of the package, and has Super7 won me over. Am I now willing to convert from being a Toon Shredder to a Playmates Shredder? Well, no. No, I'm not. But, you know, that's not on them. They did a really good job here of taking this old Playmates toy and bringing it into this new Ultimates line. So, like, you know, obviously there's things that I don't like about the original figure. I always thought he looked very scrawny. He kind of has an old man body. He's hunched over like that. He falls over, and I never cared that much for the mask. I always thought it was kind of weird how they're like the sides are like kind of like sunken in and stuff like that. So, and you know, I didn't like that he was shirtless, and so like all those things, Super7 copied from the original figure and put them into this new one. Even like kind of, I feel like he kind of has like a bigger head. You know, maybe it's just because of the helmet. So they even like kind of copied that. And you know, that's just like a testament to Super7's ability to do a really good job of copying this figure and making it brand new and better. But I just, as like stylistically, those aren't like traits that I necessarily like about this, you know, the original Shredder figure. I prefer the Toon Shredder where he's actually wearing a shirt and he's got like, you know, silver metal on his helmet and, you know, all those other kind of things. But I will tell you a couple of pros here. Some things that I think that Super7 did improve upon. First, I like that they gave him more of a youthful body. Like he doesn't look like an old man with weird muscles, like all wrinkly and stuff like that. This looks more like, you know, maybe like a sleek, you know, martial arts kind of guy, like a Bruce Lee or something like that. I like that they gave him bigger, like, arms. His muscles look a lot better. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, there are some things I like about the old figure. I like how his spikes are really long. They look very dangerous for the turtles to fight. So, you know, they translated that all really well. And what's another plus here? Oh, the cape. I think the cape is really nice. You have two capes with this. You have a rubber one and you have this cloth one. This cloth one has a wire in it. And, you know, I think it looks really good on him. So, I'm going to take a look at Shredder here, and we're going to do a deep dive into comparing what looks good, you know, what did they improve upon, what did they, you know, not improve upon on, what all did they copy over, and, you know, whatnot. So let's do a very deep dive comparison. But first, I got one thing to show you. One thing I knew I had to see was, how does he squat? Does he squat like the old 1988 Shredder? And pretty much. This is as low as he can get. His knees can't bend any more than this. But, you know, he's in the squat pose. And, but, you know, he also fails at the same time because it was way too easy to get him to stand. He's way too sturdy. The other figures, you know, you try to put him down and they fall over all the time. Oh, that one's pretty good. But him, look at that. Sturdy. Okay, so in my left hand here, I have the 1988 soft-headed Shredder, and in the right, I have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimates Shredder from Super7. So, let's start at the top. We'll start at the head. Now, if you look at the original 1988 figure, the way that his face is painted, his skin is actually painted on the front of his helmet, and you have the eyebrows painted on top of that. And, you know, that's weird, but you know, to be honest with you, as a kid, I don't even think I noticed that. I don't think I realized that that was going on until I was a man. I think that, you know, after further inspection, you'd be like, whoa, wait a minute. That's very strange. So, on this new action figure, they decided to not do that, and they completely left it off of there. And you can actually see his eyebrows painted underneath, which looks fantastic. I don't know if you can see that a little bit, but they're under there and they're painted, so that's great. However, if you are a, you know, an originalist or whatever you want to call it, and you like the way that the original figure looks, I lost the head. They provided a second head that has the eyebrows painted on top of the helmet. Now, this looks cool and all, and it's a nice homage to the original action figure, but my complaint about it is that they painted the skin on top of the helmet, I think, too far back. They should have, like, did it like a continuous line here. Like, they just didn't measure it the right way, where it should have just been a continuous line from his face up to the top and then over. You know, like, if you look at this, you have a continuous line from his cheek all the way up to his eyebrow. So it kind of gives more of the illusion that it is just part of his face. So back to to these guys. When you get past that, I think that they did a really cool job sculpting the shapes of the helmet. You know, they did a very nice job with that. It looks like this piece is like a separate piece of plastic and they kind of glued it on there. And I think it looks cool because it's kind of a different blue, so it kind of highlights the helmet more. So that's cool because the other one is just kind of one flat color all the way through. He does have, you can see like where his cape would be on his, around his neck. And okay, before getting into the actual torso, let's talk about the belt real quick here. Shredder comes with two belts. First, he comes with this fabric belt, this stretchy belt. And on the back here, it has, what's it called? Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. I was just thinking about this. Velcro. I was watching that Seinfeld episode the other day where his dad hates the sound of Velcro. And so underneath, you actually still have a plastic belt. And this belt actually matches this belt very well. It has like the, even has the circle, the little dot for where the peg comes through in the middle. That's a pretty funny thing. Like, that's cool that they did that. So, the original belt was removable. And then you have Shredder's torso underneath. And you know, this is one of those things where, like, when I was a kid, I was like, why does this guy have such a weird looking body? Like, he doesn't look muscular. He just kind of looks like an old, wrinkly old man. And, you know, I understand that some people like that, but for me, it didn't do too much for me. Same thing with the, like his purple diaper. I was, you know, I thought it looked like a diaper. It doesn't look like, you know, like Superman pants or anything, intriguing or, you know, cool. It just looks like a puffy diaper. So, past all that information, I like that they made his torso muscles a lot better. I feel like, you know, they really figured him out and made them very solid. He's not too scrawny. He doesn't look bony at all. He looks good. He's got a nice physique, I guess. And, you know, for his back, even this, I think that they really did this a lot better. Because if you look at that original back, it was so bony and weird looking. And, like, I never liked that. I was just, as a kid, I was like, why would he look like this? So I'm glad that they gave him, like, a regular back. So that might be a negative if you really wanted this figure to be, like, exactly like the original toy. Or if you're like me, you're like, okay, that's better. That's a positive thing that they did there. Same thing with the arms. It's hard to even see the Shredder's arms because he's, you know, he's got them all scrunched up to hold his sword in place. But, you know, he's got kind of scrawny arms. And this new one has very big biceps, and, you know, he looks a lot more muscular and a lot more intimidating to the turtles. He looks like he could actually put up a fight with the turtles. And like I said, his diaper here actually looks better. I think it fits him better. It just looks normal. He's got the cool black pants. Now he doesn't, his pants here, the muscles he has isn't anything that's, it's not too much of like, the Shredder has like, I don't know what these muscles are called, I can't remember. But some of these things bulge out a little more on the original figure than they do on this. And some of that, I think, is because that his legs are reused legs from the foot soldier. But I will talk about that in a little bit. And on the bottom here, you have the wrapping around his feet and the legs. And that's cool. And like that too, because I think it's a reused part from the foot soldier, you know, it's not exactly like this one, but, you know, it works. It's perfect. It's not like Mutant Man was like, they had such like crazy attention to detail, like all just the littlest things were there. Like I could see that maybe if this was like its own sculpt, you'd have like some of these wrappings where they were kind of like crossing over each other, where they're just kind of very, you know, they're just all horizontal. All right, let's talk about spikes. I think the spikes look really good, and I think that they stick out really far. I think that is really cool. They're very soft, so you can move them. You're not going to get stabbed with these, unlike the actual weapons that Shredder comes with. These are very soft, and you don't really have to worry about poking your eye out. I do like that they did a good job of updating the gauntlets. Like the length of the spikes on here are great. Like they really look like if you were battling him, you'd have a hard time because, you know, those spikes would just be flying all over the place and right in your face. And on the original Shredder, he does have like these little straps on his hands that come from, you know, comes over the palm of his hand through his thumb. And he does have that on this new figure too. There's not much else. The shoulder spikes. Shoulder spikes, again, look very nice. Pretty much the same exact shape. And that's all for the 1988 comparison. Alright, before we get into Shredder's articulation, first, let's talk about reusable parts. Now, the foot soldier here is pretty much a completely different sculpt from, you know, this upper torso up to the head. But pretty much, probably the pants too, like the pelvis too, I would imagine. The legs are completely the same. So, you know, that doesn't bother me with these Ultimates figures, but sometimes people don't like a bunch of reusable parts, but, you know, these are all exactly the same, except they, you know, probably put a hole in here or something like that to keep these spikes in place. Like I said, for some lines that kind of gets repetitive, like Marvel Legends figures, where almost so many characters have the same exact body. But in this Ninja Turtles Ultimates line, I don't mind so much because you also get like crazy brand new sculpts every wave. I mean, you got Baxter. You know, you're never going to have another Baxter unless you count the glow-in-the-dark Baxter. And then in this wave, you had Bebop and Mutagen Man. So I feel like those sculpts make up for any kind of reusable parts. Like, yeah, it takes, you know, save some time with a couple of these figures, like, you know, the Turtles and Shredder's legs here. Spend most of your time building us those giant, crazy, awesome characters like Bebop and Mutagen Man. For articulation, Shredder's got some articulation, all right. First off, his head is on a ball joint. You know, you can spin his head all the way around, but it doesn't rock side to side, really. And you don't have much... He can't really look up very far, and he can't really look down very far. So his range of vision is not the greatest. If you were down here, if you were a small Ninja Turtle, you could kick him in the shin. He would never be able to see you. Now, I will say that as soon as I took this guy out of the package, there are some pluses here. First of all, his joints moved very well, and they don't seem to be very loose. They seem to be sturdy, and they're not too tight, you know, where you're worried that you're going to break them the whole time when you're trying to get them warmed up. And also, he doesn't have any pegs or pins that you can see. It's all smooth and nice and solid looking. He has no articulation in his torso here, which is okay for me. You know, I prefer that these Ninja Turtles toys don't have that. I think it's kind of more eye-appealing to have him have a nice solid torso, just like Bebop and the Turtles. He does have a twist in his waist. You know, maybe you'd want him to hunch over more if you're trying to get him into that original position of the toy, but, you know. Alright, for his shoulder, he has rotation and he has a hinge, but your hinge movement is very limited because these spike shoulder pads are right here. So as soon as you go up a little bit, you're stopped. That's as far as you can go up with the arm. So you might think that's a very negative thing, but if you wanted him to look like the original Shredder toy, I mean, that's where he's wearing these pads, like right on top of his shoulders. So you gotta give a little and you'll get a little, His biceps here have a cut in them, so he's got the swivel in the upper bicep. I don't think that his elbows have a swivel. Like, it kind of twists a little bit, but if it does have a swivel, the elbow kind of stops it from moving. And even if I bend it here, I can't really get it to swivel around. So I'm going to say that it's not supposed to swivel. His wrist has a swivel joint and it has a hinge joint. Now his legs have ball joints, so you can, you know, rotate them out here. You could rotate them back. You could rotate them front. You could rotate them this far back. And there's like a, you know, a cut here, so you can actually twist his leg around, which is good. And his knees here, I prefer single jointed knees, so I'm okay with this. He's got single jointed knees and he has a hinge there. And there's also rotation there. And then you have extra rotation here where the bottom of his pants meet the tops of his wrapping paper. So you can actually double twist it if you want. His ankles have a hinge. And they also have ankle rockers. So that's good when you're trying to get him into different positions and try to make sure that he's balanced and stands upright. I may prefer the Toon shredder, but even my icy heart cannot deny how awesome this shredder looks next to these two Ninja Turtles. I mean, look at them. That looks fantastic. And this is only the beginning. We still have 2 more turtles to go. 2 more waves that we already know about. And then after that, the sky's the limit. More and more pre-orders from Super7, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think they're going to do an amazing job. And, you know, the only thing I don't know about is where the heck am I going to put all these guys? Because I'm running out of shelf space. I'm going to have to convert my garage into like a mini museum or something like that. So, obviously, the Shredder is a huge part of pretty much every Ninja Turtle continuity. And even in the first Mirage comic books, you know, he first appears in the 1984 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue number 1. And he dies by the end of that comic book. But just that small amount of space there, he made a huge impact because obviously later on they brought him back as a clone, and then they turned him into this action figure. And yeah, he's a lot different than the comic book Shredder, but you know, Playmates Shredder, he doesn't want to wear a t-shirt. He prefers to show off his manly bod when he's trying to kill his enemies. So now it's time to talk about accessories. And Shredder here comes with his own weapons rack, and much like the original 1988 toy, all of the weapons on his weapons rack are pretty much the same weapons that the Turtles came with. He came with 1 katana that was the same as Leonardo's. He came with the 2 fist daggers. He came with a kama, and he came with ninja stars. And, you know, that's what an old weapons rack looks like, and this is the new one. On the new one, there's a very nice wood texture on the wood, and the old one doesn't have that. You also get these nice little straps here wrapped around the pieces of wood to keep it in place. Now, this weapons rack is okay, but when they must have put it in the package, this one sword got really warped. Not that it's gonna make that much of a difference to me anyways, because, you know, like, if that happens to yours and you wanted to like take these apart and have like your Shredder displayed with the original looking kind of weapons, then, you know, that might be a bummer. But I'm probably going to just stick this in my accessories box and leave it in there, so, you know, it doesn't bother me too much. First, for his actual weapons, here's his painted katana, and, you know, this looks really awesome. There's like a darker gold on the you know, the end piece, and this piece here, I can't remember what it's called, and the paint of the blade is actually very silver and very shiny. It looks very much like metal. It's very nice. And this is like the old sword from the 1988 figure. And, you know, it's very different, much like Leonardo's. For one thing, the blade is straight, and the handle is a lot different. You don't have these little holes in the new one like you do in this old one. And this is what Leonardo's sword looks like this time around. So as you can see here, Shredder's sword is a lot darker the handle of it. And he only has one, and Leo's got two of these, so. Next up, you can see Shredder's fist dagger, his first fist dagger. And you know, this too, this has got a very nice shiny metal paint to it, and the handle has a nice wood paint. It's very nice, and it's very sharp. Here's his second fist dagger. Now, all of these are also painted the same as the Ninja Turtles weapons. Both of these fist daggers, the comma and the ninja stars. I would have thought maybe they would have done something a little differently for the handles, just so you could differentiate them. Like maybe make them like black handles, or, you know, even Foot Clan purple or something. But they're all the same, so you get mixed up, it doesn't make a difference. Here's Shredder's comma. Again, it's painted the same as the Ninja Turtle comma. And good thing, too, because this one is all crooked. And, you know, if it was like the specially painted Shredder comma, you know, you might care more, but I probably won't even use these too much, so having one that's warped like this isn't that much of a deal breaker for me. And here's Shredder's final weapon, his ninja stars. And as you can see, it's a lot more detailed. You have these nice little lines going up the blades, and once again, it's painted very nice, a very nice silver color. One thing I really liked about Splinter was the fact that they gave him both a cloth robe and a rubber plastic robe, you know, was a kimono. So anyways, with Shredder here, you got two capes. You have one that's cloth, and there's actually a wire in here so you can make it look like it's blowing in the wind and stuff like that. It holds pretty well, although, like, you know, you kind of have to mess with it a little bit to try to get it to, you know, get into a place where you want, but it does hold well, and like I said, I like it. It's nice. You can actually wrap it around his body like this, but it doesn't, you know, it's not bulky. You're not going to get like the classic, like, kind of open cape look like the original Shredder had, but you kind of get something with it. And like I said before, he has this one belt on underneath, and then on top of it you have this extra belt that's made out of, like, you know, stretchy cloth that you can just wrap around him. And it has Velcro on the other side, so you could just fasten it and you're good. Alright, so if you want to change Shredder's cape, it's very simple. You just pull off his head. Here's where I have a hard time pulling off his head, but I got it. The cape just pops off. Oh my gosh, what happened to me? This is, you know, there you go. This is your Mirage accurate Ninja Turtles issue 21 Shredder when Leonardo chops off his head. So all you gotta do is you put the plastic, or this is like rubber. Put that cape on there. I'm like, is that rubber or is that just like soft plastic? I don't know. Is rubber soft plastic? Is it different? I don't know. I just care about toys. I don't care about the materials. So this cape looks good, but like, come on, you can't compete with that cloth cape. That cloth cape is a lot nicer than this. Like, the folds in this look really good. The paint on it and the shading looks nice, but I prefer that cloth cape. I think that looks better. But, like, you know, this still looks good. You can't complain. If you just got this, I would still be happy with this. Maybe not as happy, but yeah, you got both, and both look really good. So let's talk about Shredder's extra head here. All right, so you got this head. It looks really good. I like that they gave you this head without the, you know, eyebrows painted on the front of the helmet, because it just looks cooler. He looks darker and mysterious, and you know. And you know what else, though? I didn't really mention this when I was talking about Sculpt. I'm glad that they didn't sculpt all those, like, wrinkles inside of his face like the original figure. That was something, too, that I didn't like about the original figure, that I thought made him look like an old man. He had so many wrinkles inside of his face. But luckily, on this new one, he doesn't have that. So, you know, maybe if that's, like, something that, like, you feel is very specific and maybe something you were looking for with this Shredder, you might think that's lacking. But personally, I'm okay with it. Oh man, I dropped it. So there he is, with the eyebrows painted on the front. And, you know, it's just goofy and funny. And, like, I don't know how many people are... Oh, look. Looks like I spoke wrongly about this altogether. See, I think that this side goes back too far. It doesn't look flush and stuff like that. But this side actually lines up with that hole. Like, that actually looks pretty decent. So... And if you look in here, if you look up, you can actually see the unpainted eyebrows underneath, which is pretty funny. And you know, how many people are going to display this guy with the eyebrow helmet? I don't know. But it's awesome that Super7 at least gave you the option to be able to do that. So let's talk about Shredder's hands. Shredder comes with 3 sets of hands, 6 hands altogether. And I kind of thought maybe he'd have a little more since the foot soldiers had so many different hands. And since he is a ninja master, you would have thought maybe he would have had more like martial arts kind of poses for his hands. But first you got 2 gripping hands here. They hold the sword very good, or very well. I should be speaking proper here. So you get the sword in there and it's pretty tight. It feels pretty good. It's not loose. It's not wiggling. The only weapon that kind of does, or he does have a kind of a hard time holding, is the ninja star. You can get it like that, but you know, he doesn't have a very tight grip on the ninja stars. Next, Shredder has some fists, and you know, it has the strap sculpted in there, but they didn't really paint it all the way in the palm. That's like the only misstep that I've seen in all 4 of these figures, that they, you know, could have painted that, but they didn't. Like, everything else has been incredibly pristine and clean and very nice on all these, you know, Super7 figures. And like, I don't even really care that much about it. That's just like a little thing I can point out about this guy. And you know, you can obviously use these to punch your enemies or have them gloat like, "Ha ha! I'm the ruler of the world now! Ha ha!" Finally, Shredder has some open palm hands, and these actually look pretty good. You know, you can either have them like, "No, turtles, don't hit me anymore, please." Or, you know, you can use it to like, foot attack. You know, you can get a lot of nice expressions out of these hands. And, you know, obviously he has these hands because they're supposed to match the, why is that so dark? So you can match the original hands from the original 1988 toy. You know, the more I mess around with this guy and kind of move him around and set him up, you know, the more I actually do feel like I'm warming up to him. I do like him. I think he's cool. I think Super7 did a really good job. So, you know, if you turned your back on the original 1988 Shredder...
Hello? Hello? Would somebody please pick up?
You know, don't turn your back on this guy. You should definitely look for him, pick him up, and set him up next to your Ninja Turtles. So here's the brand new Super7 Shredder with the Neca Toon Shredder. Now, I've been kind of talking about this in a lot of videos about whether or not, you know, it'd be cool to line up your Toon Shredder with your Super7 Ninja Turtles. And so now we can finally see the scale of what the human characters will look like in the Ninja Turtle line. And, you know, obviously these are 2 very different takes on the Shredder. And, you know, I think both of them actually do look pretty cool. So, you know, that's really up to you, how you feel about it. Because, like I said, I know a lot of people prefer Toon Shredder over the Playmates Shredder. You know, I know that's a little bit of my bias, but I do know that there are people out there who exist who feel the same way. So, here you go. Here's a side-by-side comparison of these 2 metal mouth giants. Like I said, man, come on, what's up with you, man? Both of these are very cool. And, you know, obviously, Neca's Shredder has a lot more articulation. But, you know, if you don't want or need a bunch of articulation, then, the Super 7 figure is just fine. And come on, Leo. You look all strung out and stuff. Just stand straight up here. There's Leonardo next to these guys. Obviously, the Shredder is bigger and Leo fits in, but Leo can go with either, I think. You know, I think they match just fine. The only thing that it's not going to match the best is maybe if you had the, you know, Neca Donatello here, and you have him next to Super 7 Shredder. He's very small. However, if you ever played that original Game Boy game, Fall of the Foot Clan, Shredder's like gigantic in that game, so maybe it could work out just alright. Here's the Super 7 Shredder next to some more NECA action figures. And, you know, in my opinion, it doesn't matter how you mix and match these guys. These guys all look pretty awesome and pretty cool together. Like, they're just like classic designs that, you know, like you really have to try hard to make these guys look bad. And here's Shredder standing next to the awesome Bebop from this wave. And, like, look how gigantic these guys are. I swear, it's almost like a foot of space from this arm all the way over to that arm. Could you imagine how much room these guys will take up once you finally have Rocksteady too? And then eventually Krang. I mean, holy crap. This is very cool. Like, Super 7's doing a really great job here. And we also got to see the Shredder, otherwise known as Oroku Saki, fight his mortal enemy, Splinter. Or, as it used to be called, Hamato Yoshi. And, you know, this looks pretty cool. I gotta say that from these first two waves, I was least excited about these two figures. You know, I was, like I said before, I wasn't a big fan of either of these sculpts in the 1988 series. So for me, it was just like, all right, well, you're gonna get these guys. And, you know, like, I was glad that they had them early enough, because I was like, you know, we'll just get those guys out of the way, and then we'll finally get to, like, all the really good stuff, you know, the other 1988 characters, and 89 and 90 and stuff like that. But, you know, that was very cynical of me, I guess. And, you know, finally having both of these guys, I think they both look awesome. Like, I'm happy to have both of them, and I think they look really cool next to each other, and I can't wait to set them up on my shelves. If you've seen any of my other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimates Wave 2 reviews, you'll notice that I use this same shot in all four of these. And this is just to show the scale of these new Super 7 figures, and to also show how these toys have grown up over all this time. Jeez. Somebody must have got all these guys pumping iron back in the day. And this wouldn't be an Ultimates review without taking the ultimate trip down memory lane and talking about some not-so-ultimate figures, but all Shredder figures. First, of course, you got the original 1988 Shredder, who eventually exercised a lot and became this Shredder you see before yourself. Next, we've got the Wacky Shredder, and this will be interesting too. Like, will they do like a repaint of this Shredder and just kind of give them the wacky colors? You know, will Super 7 get into the wacky figures? That would be interesting. It'd also be interesting if, you know, later on during the Playmates line, they had the cartoon version of the Shredder, and he had the colors from the cartoon. Will they paint this guy in a repaint and put him out like that? All right, now this Shredder, I just got this from this Playmates set that I just also uploaded a video of today. You know, kind of interesting because he's supposed to be a Mirage comic Shredder. But, you know, not the best. But I just thought it was kind of interesting to throw that in there because he's the same sculpt as the 1988 toy, except for that crappy leg he's got. It's really awful. Alright, so next up you got Shredder from the 2003 cartoon. And, you know, I've always loved this Shredder. I think he looks pretty awesome. Looks very imposing. And it turns out this dude isn't even a Rokosaki. He's an Utrom named Shirel. An evil Utrom. Here we got Shredder from the 2012 cartoon. Look at him. He's got golden armor. That's right, golden armor. Well, that's like a repaint. He's supposed to have silver, but I don't have the silver one. He also had the cool Mutant Shredders from the 2003 cartoon. Very awesome. Even ye old crab Shredder. And then, of course, we talked about the cartoon Shredder from Neca, so I'm not going to talk about him again. But you can see this awesome video game Shredder. And we can also talk about the movie Shredder. See how he looks compared to him. And, you know, for a while there, I thought only Neca was able to give us a good Shredder. And I think Super7 is doing a nice job here. And then who are we going to end it with? We'll end it with two. We'll end it with the original Super Shredder toy from Playmates. And then we'll show... Yeah, that's right, Super Shredder. I wanted to show you. And I wanted to show you next to the Playmates Shredder, Super Shredder, and this Super7 Shredder, and the old original Playmates Shredder. And the reason why I wanted to show all you guys together was just to make the fact that, you know, that's the biggest Shredder we got so far. I think he looks awesome, right? But most of his strength comes a lot from his height. You know, he's tall, he's very muscular, but he's still got like human proportions. And, you know, if what we've seen with, like, Bebop and Mutant is, like, anything, it seems like Super7 is willing to get, like, you know, very wide and bulky. So, you know, even though I think this Neca Super7 Super Shredder is awesome, I mean, look how they upgraded this guy from the original here. You know, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Super7 does with the original Playmates Super Shredder. I think it'll look really awesome when they bulk him up and make him really big. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how the Super7 Super Shredder competes with the Neca movie accurate Super Shredder. I don't know, man. It's exciting, it's cool, and I can't wait to see what all's revealed this year. So, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Did you pick up this cool Shredder from Super7? I think he's still available on Big Bad Toy Store if you never pre-ordered all the way back in January 2020. So... go and get him if you can. Otherwise, you might also be able to order him from Diamond at your local comic book store. And I've also seen that some of these Wave 2 figures are up on Amazon with Prime shipping, but they cost around $60 a piece. So, you know, well, altogether, you're probably paying, what, $40 more than you usually would? So, but like if that's your only option, that's your only option. Right now, Big Bad Toy Store, last time I saw, they had Wave 2 up for pre-sale at like $200 plus, you know, you have to pay your tax and $4 of shipping. So go out there and pick them up if you can. Talk to you later.